Hello and welcome to another session of Groundbreakers Live. I'm your host Javed Mohammed, and I'm very, very honored to have with us Kai Donato, who is an Oracle ace as well as a senior consultant for Apex. So Kai, welcome.
Hi, Javed. Thank you for having me.
All right. So let's get straight into the heart of things. How did you become involved with Apex?
So yeah, besides that, I can't say that I started with HTML back in the days. So I'm just fresh in the
You're
business,
too
like
young for
6 years.
that.
Yeah, obviously. So yeah, 6 years ago, about 6 years ago, I started using Apex, and it was just for me one step ahead from the normal web developing. So when I started with 13 years old, I started writing HTML, JavaScript, and PHP and MySQL and
Wow.
stuff. So I learned that really, really early, and then like 6, 7 years ago, I yeah started working in the consultancy
Mhm.
and became yeah I learned about Apex. So my Niels de Bruin said that this is a groundbreaking technology, and I have to have a look on this because of my skill profile with HTML, JavaScript, and so on. This must be something I have to look into, and I did, and I'm still consultant in this area,
Mhm.
and yeah, I'm happy to use this technology.
Okay. So just kind of going into the kind of next level. So what is it specifically about this technology that you like?
Yeah, I mean, back in the days when I started to use like PHP, for example, I had to write so much code just to have the basic functionality, right?
Mhm.
So if I just want to have a secure area in my application where you have you can store something or you can administrate something not everyone has access to, I had to write a lot of code just to have this user management stuff and this access stuff. So and with Apex, I had everything in place. So I just can start with kind of a blueprint, like a raw application, which is bringing me all the authentication stuff with it, and I just can start with the things that are important for me. So I just can start with content. I can start using data in my application. And yeah, 6 years ago, I was interested in visualizing data, for example, or using master data editing and administrating data. So, and this is something which is the best way to do with Apex.
Okay. So you probably developed many applications with Apex. Is there one that you're really kind of you're passionate about or you feel proud of?
I mean, there are two different kind of applications I'm
Mhm.
working with Apex. So on the one hand side, there are my private projects. I'm still using Apex for private stuff, right? So I'm developing applications which are in my private interest, and they
Mhm.
are applications I'm working with. My daily work is writing application for different customers,
Yeah.
and maybe I can mention one of my first projects where I was involved with Apex and WebSockets, like JavaScript technology
Mhm.
or browser-based technology, which was really fairly new back then. I was able to reduce very high load on systems that that were polling databases and trying to visualize some data and was polling and polling every single second, getting huge amount of data which wasn't that necessary, and I was able to implement into Apex my favorite technology like WebSockets and JavaScript to reduce this load. So and I was able to do it in a very short time period. And this is what makes all my private and my business applications very useful, is that I'm able to develop those applications in a very short time frame. So I'm able to bring, after a few hours or maybe a day, a fully complete functional prototype of the application. So I can show them how this is working, and then this is basically what I did the last 6 years. Every single time when I started in a new project, I was able to develop very fast, very yeah good applications where I wasn't where it wasn't that long to show them the first prototype.
Nice. So you probably developed many best practices along the way. For someone who's kind of new to Apex, is there anything you'd like to share?
Yes, there are many best practices you learn over the
Yeah,
time, but I think what I'm telling everyone who's starting with Apex is you have a lot of great resources in the web. So you can search for white papers, you can search for best practice documents, and you can search for all the presentations myself and other developers are sharing every year. I would say that it's part of your application development that you are reaching out for different people who are doing a good job in this area. You can read many presentations about best practices, and if you want to have a concrete or a specific best practice, I would say that please be aware that you don't put all your application code, everything you do, all your business logic, all your JavaScript, all your CSS into the page designer and Apex. Please try to avoid that. You could start with separating this business logic and PLSQL package in the database. You can encapsulate JavaScript and include it as a file. And you can do the same with CSS. You can bundle it, you can separate that, and you can include it into your application without having so much stuff directly programmed into the page design of Apex.
Okay,
that
all right.
Should be the best practice.
Okay, and I think you've kind of alluded to it, but is there anything is kind of a no-no and something to definitely avoid?
Yeah, so the opposite of this best practice, I would say. So if you just code everything into your page designer because you want to save time and you don't want you just want to make this prototype working right now, and you write hundreds and hundreds of code lines into the application itself, it isn't that maintainable, and you have to avoid that. And yeah, you should be able to use Subversion or Git or any other versioning system, code versioning system. This is something you have to do, and it's not that easy to do if you put all your code in the application. So so you have to avoid writing code without having it in a versioning system, and there's a code versioning system, and you have to avoid to put all your code into the application because it's not maintainable after that. So that's the main point, I think.
All right, thank you very much for sharing. So one last non-Apex related question. So as you know, you're part of the Apex community, and you know some of these interviews are in different parts of the world. We were talking off camera, so you're outside a city, outside the city of Dusseldorf. I forget the name. What, do you remind us which city you're in?
Ratingen.
Okay.
It's about half an hour from Düsseldorf.
Okay. So if someone was to come to that part of the world, is there some food or some experience you'd say, you know, if you come here, you have to do this? What would that be?
Oh, good question. So I mean, every US-based person would say that you have to eat Weisswurst and pretzels over here, but it's kind of 5-6 hours by car from here where you are eating this for national. So I think you should drink good beer in Germany. So that's something you have to try. All the different kinds of beer we have. Yeah, special things. I can't think of something you have to eat here. So
okay, all right. Okay then. Well, Kai, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you very much too.